Advertisement up front, but guess what? Y'all get me today. I'm super happy to be here with Oscar Bond. Honestly, nobody could have prepared me my entire life, career, whatever, for me to be on stage next to an industry icon like Oscar Bond. My mom talked about it growing up. I've been in the hair industry only 9 years. This guy's been in, what? 900, right? It's awesome to know that no matter how long or how short you're in the industry, you can be a change, you can be something important. And it's almost like overwhelming for me to be around such amazing artists. Our entire team is amazing. Hattori Hanzo, if you guys don't know, what are we, 34 something? 33?
And come
23? Everybody stand up. Let's just get the whole group to stand up. The whole group, come on, everybody stand up. You. Okay, come on. You too. Everybody stand up. All right, if you can hear me, raise your hand. Just one hand. All right. I want everybody to say one thing. I just want you to say, I am a hairstylist.
I am a hairstylist.
Say it louder, I am a hairstylist.
I'm a hairstylist.
I'm gonna change the world.
I'm gonna change the world.
I do change the world.
I do change the world.
All right, everybody turn around. Turn around. Look down that hall, all the way down that hall. You guys see that the logo, the H logo? I want everybody to go there. As soon as we're done, I want you all to walk over there, and I want you to talk to somebody from our team and let them know that you were here with us, and we'll give you something special, all right? So, give yourselves a round of applause for being part of the most amazing industry in the world. All right, Oscar, what are you doing?
Okay, everyone, Emily, I'm sorry. Everyone, Erica, everyone, I'm trying to remember people's names. I just did a really classic shape, and I think we do these shapes all the day long. It is very classic, and I'm gonna make it from something that's classic into something that's a lot more modern. And how you make hair modern is you take from something that doesn't really move a great deal into something that moves a great deal. I'm gonna use a pair of texturizing shears. We have 3 shears that I use, 1, 2, 3. I do not use the smallest. I wanna put quite a lot of texture in here. So what texture's gonna do for me is gonna collapse that shape. And having that shape collapse and having the hair move, I'll be doing the same action throughout the whole of the haircut. So I will take a section with my blade. The sides are very, very weak, so I don't really want to do anything through here for now. But right back here, keep your shears closed. Take a diagonal section, lift that hair away. And with these shears, I go in on a diagonal and it will just slide right out. They never have any gripping. That will start to make that shape collapse. I'll be really quite aggressive and I'll go through the whole shape like that. So keeping the outline, where my graduation is will still be there, but the whole thing will collapse and get a lot more modern. When you're watching Justin, one thing I've always been always admired of Justin is his body position. He has really good mechanics. And I think that's something you should really think about. Those are your late night mechanics. We don't need to see those, believe me. But your feet should always be stationary. Keep yourself braced, try and be as eye level as possible, and work with your shears correctly. That is a correct motion. Get into good habits and good things will happen. So again, I'm gonna go through this side. I'll make this side collapse first. I always start my right side, which is somewhat my weaker side, and that way I know the other side, I'll be able to make it fit. I wanna see that collapse, and that's exactly what's happening. And you, Justin, what are you doing?
All right, what am I doing? I'm looking at the hair. So, who works every single day, or it feels like every single day in the hair salon? Or the barber shop, right? So I'm a licensed barber and I'm a licensed hairstylist. And so time is what?
Money.
Money, time is money. Say money louder, we're in Vegas. Time is what?
Money!
All right, so I'm gonna use a 7.5-inch tool, but before I use it, I wanna break down the head into 3 parts. And these are brand new shears, it's very difficult to open. Look at this, brand new. Okay, so, each thing that I'm looking at is length, weight, and visible texture. When I say visible texture, I mean what I'm seeing on the outside, not what's on the inside, not what's at the bottom, right? So length is the maintaining of weight. You have the weight area, which we can build or maintain the weight from this section, and on top we have the visible aspect of texture. The reason why I say visible aspect of texture is because when I say texture, sometimes we think 90-degree layer. 90 degree comes straight out like this, and I cut, I have this straight out, and it won't dive down and look like a graduation 45, right? So that means, although that's texture, I want visible texture. So right up above the parietal ridge, this stuff falls down, and I have all the visible aspect of texture. You guys understand what I'm talking about? Put your hands up if you understand. All right, so as far as that goes, what's really popular right now is the maintaining of weight. I'm seeing every single day more women coming in. They want that blunt line. Like, I want the girl famous. What's her name? Kardashian, Kylie Jenner, right? They want this straight line. And I couldn't get it straighter unless I use maybe a clipper or the right tool. If you want something to go straight, when I say right tool, I mean Hattori Hanzo. But when I open my shears and close, no matter how thick the section, I can cut a straight line because I'm in what is called hard line position. When my shear is towards me, I control the hard lines. When my shear is away from me, I'm controlling softer lines. Meaning, when I take a section, let's say on top, safely up here. This is like your platform artist safety zone. Every single guy you've ever seen, a girl on stage, and they get up here like, right? Okay, this line, the visible texture, these are elevation points. So as I elevate the hair, you're gonna see a disconnect right here, and that's usually the center of her world is somewhere in here, and it separates your weight and your visible aspect of texture. So no matter what I do up here, it's gonna look really cool, and because she's super flossy blonde, it's gonna look really awesome. But really what's happening is I'm softening at a 90-degree angle, 90 from its point, not 180 from zero, right? No matter what I do, I'm forcing weight towards the head, which rounds out the haircut and makes it look soft. So I just debunked every single person you've ever seen on stage that does stuff like this, okay? What I really want to show you is if I elevate up here and I look at her hair, I'm going to see only her texture. Now if I like the length of the texture, let's say in the salon she says, touch my hair, don't touch my length, I have all different types of length. My long shear, I can blend that out, all even. You can point cut it a little bit without sacrificing too much length, and then you can really get a look at what's going on in the weight and the length areas. That's why I separated into threes, because time is what?
Money.
So if time is money, I want to make the most amount during the day. You guys agree with me? Okay, so let's separate it into 3 parts, and that's how I'm going to start cutting. I'm going to use hard lines at the bottom, very minimal elevation, because elevation, the more elevation I have, the more weight we remove, and I'm trying to maintain that weight. You guys understand what I'm saying? If you do, put your hands up. All right, everybody say Hanzo.
Hanzo.
Say Hanzo.
Hanzo.
All right, what up, Oscar?
I am going through what you just started with, which was a solid line, and making it a lot more broken. And I too totally agree that time is money, but really money is money. So if you've got no time, you should still make money. One thing you should try and do, I get $250 a haircut. So time and money work the same way. I take an hour to do a haircut. I work in New York City, and for New York City prices, that's kind of middle of the road. But really, you take care of every single client, because money is when they come back. You do clients all day long, they'll come back, well, you may make any money. So keep that cachet with you, work as good as you can. Nothing has really taken me from ground zero up. I just go to work, do the same thing every single day. I fell into the surroundings of Justin and Hanzo almost a couple of years ago now, and it's been a real blessing to me. I only cut hair. I have all these shears. They all have a different purpose to them. I started my career at Vidal Sassoon. This is what everyone used, 4.5-inch shears. All those graduated bobs at the 5 points were done with a tiny pair of shears. Get good mechanics on them. So good habits. Justin has really good habits with his posture, the way he handles his shears. That's really, really important. I use these for when I go in to do tiny texture around the face, and I use longer shears for longer lines. My go-to shears are these. They're not the most expensive. They're called the HH6. They do everything. These do not leave my hand in a day. I have 11 pairs of shears, and these are my go-to pair of shears. I forget to put them down to pick up another because they're so comfortable. So when you're going to invest greatly in a pair of shears, make sure they're comfortable. I work with the highest quality metal. They're the most expensive line, but I have them sharpened the least. So if you do dry hair like Justin and I are doing now, you have to use a good metal. Dry hair is very coarse and it ruins your blade. You can see the difference between this side, which has a lot more movement to it, versus this is the one that has a little bit of texture in it, and it just looks a lot more modern than this side, which is a lot more static. So I'm going to go through here as well. I haven't done really anything in the front. I don't know what to do in the front. And when you don't know what to do, don't do anything. I don't think it will look much better shorter. It might look better longer, but this is a cone, not a wand. So I can't really do that. I'm going to keep on going through with my thick texturizing shears, and do not be afraid. These don't do anything unless you operate them. So again, take that diagonal section, lift that hair away. I've got a lot of hair here, and I'll go in that diagonal section on a diagonal, so you won't see any lines from the shears at all. Bring them in. I'm taking out quite a lot of weight with each one. That's what makes it collapse. I don't really want to take length away. I just want to start seeing that texture move and get a little bit more out of it. That's looking really nice, Justin. I think one thing when you're doing a straight line, as Justin is it's very deceiving. It's not the most difficult thing, but it is the most difficult thing. But if I get two combs together, I think we have this misjudgment where this is the line we look at and we base everything upon it, yet that is the line we cut. It's not exactly the same. So trust the fact that comb is straight. Use your eyes. I can see Justin's line better than Justin can see it. So every now and again, he'll step away, take a look, use that mirror like it's your best friend. But I don't trust my fingers when it comes to a fringe or an outline. I trust the comb. And Justin, that's looking really beautiful.
Thank you so much. So now you guys can see that I've been working on that perimeter line once the weight area was taken out. Now let's look at, before I continue the line, we go vertical for looking at textures and techniques. When I say texture technique, think of it this way: vertical sections, control, find, discover, create your texture. So texture, remember? Okay. Or your technique, so angles, okay? So when I look at this, I'm gonna see a disconnection point right about here, right about her occipital bone. And then in this area, the higher I elevate, the more angle I see. You guys see how this, I can follow that line all the way to this line, which is your disconnection point between your weight and your texture. So as I do that, I can control, just as Oscar will explain in Sassoon type haircutting, we lift horizontally to control the weight. We're lifting vertically to control the texture or the technique of the haircut. I do this in threes because I'm really dumb and I don't like to confuse myself. So I can count to 3. 1, 2, 3. I can cut hair. All right? You guys see that line? So if I straighten that out, I'm going to control the weight in the haircut, but still maintain my line at the bottom. It will expose anything underneath. So the higher I elevate, each elevation point, so here and here, so occipital bone and the center of her whorl, usually it's somewhere in this area. If you can't find it, go the apex of the parietal bone, which is like right here. So that apex of the parietal bone is right here, then you have your occipital bone. Everything between my fingers is the weight section of the haircut. When I say weight section of the haircut, I can do a fade. So if Oscar wants me to cut all this hair off of his head and he wants a fade, I'm gonna put 3 fingers right here, right above his or her ear, because women get fades too, right? And I'm gonna go my bottom finger, that's a low fade, medium fade, high fade. You control the weight and the fade, right? From the occipital bone down, I'm gonna control your tapering area if he or she is going to get a taper. It's very different between maintaining the weight and building up the weight into the visible texture. We liked the texture, we already messed with it, so we're not gonna mess with it again. So everything beneath, we're going to control, maintain. Notice how we got rid of that little graduation in just 2 or 3 sections. So we're going a lot faster. And yes, time is money, and money is money, but some people don't charge that money in where you live, right? Sometimes we can't, or we think we can. If you think you can't raise your prices, you think that you're going to be the most expensive haircut in the area, perhaps that's a good thing, all right? If you're the first person to do it, we were the first scissor company to offer payment plans. And people said, you guys are stupid. Now look at us, we do $2 million in sales a month. 100% everything is guaranteed for life. You can pay per month without interest or credit check. You can have a brand new $2,000 pair of shears like I wanted right out of school, and they're in your pocket for less than 200 bucks today, and then next month you gotta do it again, right? And every month for another 9 more months. But that's tight. And now walk around here and you'll see every single one of these other companies that when we disrupted the industry, they told us we were dumb. Everybody's got payment plans now, or at least they're trying, but they don't do it quite like us. If you don't love it, you can't keep it, and I want you to go, and I want you to see that guy over there in the backwards hat and the button down. He's got papers for people if you want to jump in. If you want, be part of Hanzo, if you're not already. Who's already Hanzo in here? Hanzoners, what up? Third of the room. If you guys want to be like these cool people, we'll give you 10% off today. But only because you were right here. And if not, come to one of our classes this weekend after today, and we'll answer as many questions as we can for you.
Stand up for me, darling. Gives a little shake. So this takes a very solid shape, and just with those VT ones, they give you all that texture. I've still got my graduation, so it's not like I'm taking away a great deal of hair, but it takes something from being very classic to something that is a lot more modern. So again, I use the VT ones, and as Justin said, if you make it straight down that aisle,
You like me so much.
At least play with these, like feel them. Jason looks nice. I get called Austin all the time. Thank you very much. I'll walk you off here. Briley, if you'll come on up.
Woo!
Thank you. So, everyone, Briley, thank you. Everyone, Briley, everyone. Briley is actually Ryan Teal, who's a good friend of mine. It's his assistant, and she's fantastic. So that nice blow dry there was done by Briley. Sorry. I'm going to take Briley's hair from what it is and put a lot of texture in it. I'm not going to use the same tool that I just used. I'm going to use a much more of a case of point cutting. So with those tiny shears that I just showed you, I'm going to work with one slightly larger than that, a 5-inch shear. I'm going to work through in the same manner of taking each section. I'm going to start through this back. I'll take my sections all the way through, clip that away, and all I want to do is bring the hair straight out at 90 degrees and take 50% of the hair out. She's got a lot of hair, so again, lift it, bring that straight out, and I'll go straight into her hair. I want to see those valleys and those peaks. The worst thing about texturizing hair is that. You want to see that shape, you want to see some hair fall, you want to make some activity happen in there. And again, take my section. I won't go through the same section twice, but I want to see the outline stay the same, but have a lot of weight taken out of it. So again, I think with smaller shears you have greater control. I want to go straight into it and work all the way through in that manner. So texture is something that years ago, I'm going back a long time, you would never have done. You'd never got a client. I think nowadays, if you don't personalize your shape or personalize your haircut, your client feels like, oh my golly gosh. Your client's gonna feel like they are getting kind of gypped. So again, just straight in, work it straight out, go straight into the hair. I do not want to lose all of my outline. But if I do, it's not the end of the world. It is. And again, do not go through your same section twice. So again, straight through. You just got your hair colored, didn't you? I can see it. How you doing, Justin?
I'm wonderful.
Good.
So my model has been pre-light, and she's going to be colored on the Pulp stage tomorrow with my homegirl Ash. So go check it out when it's all complete. And I like working with pre-lightened hair because it's a lot easier. It kind of stays where I put it. We do a lot of color. We do a lot of bright colors, balayage, and that kind of thing in our salon. So everything that we're doing is absolutely applicable to what you can take home and use today, tomorrow, whenever you have your next client. This is very simple stuff, right? As I'm working all the way on the outside, I let everything that I messed with up here down. And as this ends right here, it's gonna end right at the end of my graduation. So as I go back through vertical, and I cross-check everything, I'm gonna see that shape underneath, right here. So if I'm working with the weight, I'm gonna be straight up in this category. So think of the categories not relegated directly to the head, they actually come straight up. So these are elevation points. So anything above this line, the higher I go, the more it becomes textured. That's why that triangular shape here inverts, and you can soften it all the way to the length on top. I'm using the Mamba series, which is a special tool for me because if you have been following my work for a while, you know that I have favorable tools, but I had a chance to be part of the research and development of this product. And the cool part about that is when a company comes to you and is like, hey dude, you cut hair, we want you to try our products. We want you to help develop the product. So this is by hairdressers for hairdressers. This is a company that completely cares about whether or not we succeed as individuals behind the chair. And that's paramount for me in my business. So I gave them my input, and about 6 or 7 months later, this tool came out. So if you have questions, I'm going to be in the booth if you want to know more about this tool.
And that's the Mamba.
The Mamba, sir.
Yeah, I don't get asked for any R&D, I'll probably be honest. But I do use lots of different tools. Each tool has a different meaning for it. I got tools that are very clever, like you would never cut a grape with an axe, and you'd never chop a tree down with a pair of 4-inch shears. So for longer lines, I use longer shears, shorter lines, somewhat shorter shears. But I started my career with a tiny pair of shears. I think you're able to get really good control, and then you get longer and larger. I'll be back here in 2 weeks. It's going to be the North American Hairdressing Awards, and my wife was nominated for one, so she better win, otherwise it'll be a really bad household for an entire year. I won one in 2010, and she didn't. It was a tough year. You have no idea. I couldn't even look her in the eyes. I was like, hey, why?
I think he's telling you to vote for his wife.
Thank you, please.
Hey guys, do you want to take any time to get any questions in the audience?
Absolutely. That's what this is all about. It's a learning thing. We can be really cool on stage, but if you didn't learn anything, we can't call ourselves educators, and that's the thing. So what's up? We got any questions?
Raise your hand if anyone's got a question for Oscar or Justin. Anybody? Settle down.
Make them simple questions. One word answers like no, yes.
You got
keep
one in
them
the back.
simple,
There we go.
please.
You're kind of putting people on the spot there, but honestly, if you have a question, you should really say something. I'm getting this kind of sheerness that I want to see. I want to see it collapse even more. It might not do that. You've got some compromised texture here, put it that way.
We got David from San Diego back here, Oscar.
Hey, David.
Hey guys, so I'm just wondering what's a good all-around shear for wet and dry cutting, busy salon days, time is money, money is time. What's your favorite shear?
HH6.
HH6?
And speaking for Justin, probably a Mamba, is it? Or no?
The 6 and the Mamba are made of the exact same
Yeah.
material, which is 50% wet, 50% dry. So if you're doing a lot of wet lines and then you're refining dry, I agree with the 6. If that handle doesn't feel right to you, you switch the handle, keep the materials, and you end up with the Mamba. So it's exactly the same. So we would actually rather you have something that feels right in the hand over the performance, because the performance is roughly the same.
And that comes in a 4.5, 5, 5.5, 6, 6.5.
I have them all. I do. Justin touched on a really important point about the quality of the metals. Like, if you're going to do a lot of dry hair cutting, you have to use a much higher end metal than if you're not. So, otherwise your shears will go blunt very, very quickly, because coarse, dry hair is very, very coarse.
I like to take larger sections, and I like to get through and then refine it myself. So using a larger tool is great. Also, I travel a lot. Does anybody else travel a lot or scared to travel with their shears? Okay, so you can get through TSA with up to 7.5-inch scissor.
You can. I couldn't.
What?
They took away my,
You gotta argue better.
I know, I wasn't good arguing.
You're too nice.
And now I've had immigration issues, believe me, the last thing you want to do is argue with someone in an airport.
Any other questions?
One thing I really am astounded about with Hanzo, and that is, I bought shears all my life. I would buy them from a show, I would get them from a car, from a trunk of a car. No one ever made the effort to go in and out of hair salons and making a relationship. So if you do have a problem with your shears, you call someone, that problem is worked out. I think it's a pretty simple idea, almost like door-to-door salesman. But they do really well, they connect really well. And as Justin said, the company's done great for that one reason, customer service and a good quality tool. It's really not rocket science. Cool shake.
All right, Justin, we have a question over here. Right down here in the audience. Come on and take a look.
What's a good shear to blend extensions with?
Ooh, wonderful question. What is a good shear to blend extensions with? I would actually like to show you. So let's have my model do a little bit of a walk. You guys give her a small round of applause if you like it.
We got someone with extensions.
All right, how about some more noise because we're gonna rock this out a little bit. Yeah. That's every day right there. Do another one, go ahead.
I know it sounds crazy, but a lot of people say, when do you know when to stop texturizing? You don't. You're gonna probably get a word in your mind that says like, oops, or that's enough, but if you don't push it far enough, then you don't know what kind of tricks you might get out of it. But I will remember if I texturize someone's hair too much and won't do it again the next time. So as long as you can kind of keep track of what you're doing, but as I said, there was a time where I would never, ever, ever have texturized hair as much as I do now. And that goes to show that when, as you get older, and you will get older, I didn't think I would, but you do, you have to change and you've got to almost embrace that change. Are you waiting for me, Justin?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, bud, go.
Oh, you're good. So, while we're on the subject of texture, when you're blending extensions are typically installed beneath the visible aspect of texture that we were talking about. So that line right here. So, as you can see, where he's texturizing, he's keeping in the weight area. So as he has that low elevation. This is the same way we attack extensions. So that question, what is a good tool to blend extensions? So I'm gonna hold it here. I don't know if the camera can really get. So this tool has 13 individual like little blades, and they're all separated roughly by a 1/12 of an inch, right? Teeth, we can call them teeth. Tiny blades, teeth, scissors, shear, whatever you want to call it, right? So this thing doesn't do anything until I do it, right? So why don't we show on you, your partner in crime here, and this is my friend Serena. Everybody say hi, Serena.
Hi, Serena.
Can you get up here? All right, so we're gonna blend some stuff on Serena, and you guys are gonna see she doesn't have a whole lot going on in terms of what needs to be blended, but I'm gonna show you in the last 7.5 minutes we have on stage with you. So the 13T is one of my favorite shears in the line, and it's basically because I had an instructor when I took a class from a really cool company that Mr. Oscar Vaughn used to work for, and I was told to not use texture shears because they said everything you do with that texture shear I can do with my regular shear. And I said, oh, okay, and I believed it because I took what they said because I respected it. I took it for what they said. But then now I'm thinking, all right, can you do 13 individual haircuts separated by a 1/12 of an inch in under a second? If you immediately thought, absolutely no, I can't, then awesome, because probably nobody can do that. So when I take a section, again, above that line, because what would happen up underneath would be your extension. If I'm going to cut perpendicular, I'm going to end up with a line. So you see something like this, line, and they look like individual point cuts, but with a harsher line. If you don't want to see the line, you elevate slightly more, and then that angle variance is going to change, and then you just follow it 1, 2, 3, and you get rid of that line. Let's go back and look. So the line goes away. It's about elevation, less about the solvent of point cutting and more about elevation points, which is why I wanted everybody to pay attention to where Oscar was elevating the hair when he went into point cut. So someone like him likes to refine that way. I like to refine using a texture tool sometimes, not all the time. So what I would do is take your extension up underneath and blend natural, these two together. I've seen people twist or whatever. I don't, I just use elevation. Without twisting, I go parallel to the hair 1, 2, and that will actually help blend the line. You take a small amount of hair out, and then it rests back down into the hair. Easier way to explain that would be to make a problem. So if you charge more money to correct haircuts or hair colors, you should charge more money to correct a haircut. So if I have a problem, let's say right here. So you guys see that line here? I need to blend that out. I bring it to where it came from, this area, not over here, not where it lies, right? I want to attack it, but I don't want to attack it with a lot of shear. So I get rid of the bigger tool. I switch to a texture tool because it's a texture problem. So we grab the tool to identify the problem and then we solve the problem together. So we just go 1, 2, 3, parallel, upwards, up underneath, because underneath means graduation. Graduation is weight. So we're treating it as if it were to lay here, and then I brush it away and it goes away. So that's corrective haircutting. If you guys want to know more about corrective haircutting, come to my class tomorrow. If you have no idea what time it is and you want to know, booth, straight back. You guys remember I made you stand up and look over there? That's where I want you to come and meet us over there and ask us questions. Ask us direct questions that you may not feel confident in asking with the microphone in your hand. Back to you, Oscar.
I'm finishing up here. I'm listening to you and having a good time listening as well. Riley's made me look really good, but you can see just through taking weight out of the hair, as Justin was talking about taking weight out, texturizing just makes it collapse. I don't view a broken line any different to a straight line. Straight line gives you straightness, a broken line gives you weakness. But the mechanics of how you do it, the way you stand, your posture is exactly the same. So it's not like you're relearning the whole curve of the wheel. You're taking your actions and using a different tool. I think a lot of people are afraid to use a different tool. Don't be. Justin spoke about Vidal Sassoon about how you weren't allowed to use things. I don't mean any disrespect, but look where Vidal Sassoon is. They're not exactly at the top of their game anymore, so because they didn't change, and you have to embrace change. I'll always speak very highly of Vidal Sassoon, but at the same time, I've changed in my career. You kind of have to. Bridie, would you hold your ear down for me? I didn't take this side short, but I'm going to clean it up a little bit. So when you clean it up, you want to go the opposite way the hair grows. So get in there and sit that in nice and tight. I don't really want to take it much shorter. I think it's quite a nice length being all fluffy. I don't really want to see it much more aggressive.